Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. It's Tuesday, September 2nd. How's everybody doing this morning? Everybody feeling good? Everybody up? Ready to go back to work? What's everybody thinking about? Talk to me this morning. Welcome in, people. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Walk and Talk, September 2nd, 2025. My name's Oloropo Bird. Let's get up, let's get at it. As always, people, as you check in, let me know where you're checking in from, what time of day it is, where you are, what you guys doing today, what you're working on. How did you enjoy your Labor Day weekend here in the United States? What did you guys do? Did we do barbecues, cookouts? What did we do? Did we visit family? Take vacations? You see in the poll, you can answer there. But most of all, as we do every morning, let's get motivated. Let's get connected. Let's get prepared for the day ahead. Let's live with purpose, people. Thank you again for being here this morning. Thank you for choosing this time to join me on this walk. Let's make the most of it. Here on the East Coast of the United States, as always, people, I want to remind you, I am real. I am not AI generated. It is September 2nd. This was not pre-recorded. Thank you guys for being here, joining the walk, joining the talk. Today, we're going to talk about a little bit of history, a little bit about Labor Day. Why was Labor Day started? What's the background on it? Where are we going with it? What is that, Lamar? Is that Lauren? Lannon Knox. Good morning, Lannon. Welcome in. Thank you for checking in here. Remember, guys, as you check in, let me know where you're checking in from, what time of day it is, where you are. I'm on the East Coast, United States, in Maryland. It is 4:33 in the morning, September 2nd, 2025. Thank you for being here. What is the real deal with labor? What is Labor Day all about? Does it matter? Like, are we just talking about it for no reason? Like, does it really matter what the focus for Labor Day was or is? Are we just looking at things, complaining because we don't have anything else to do? Well, this morning, we'll figure it out. It is Tuesday. Hope you guys enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. Weather was pretty decent here in the area. So let's get at it this morning, people. Welcome to the top of my little hill. Before we jump into the material, as always, let's take a look at my little view. It's not much, but it's my corner. So thank you everyone for being here, joining me on the walk and talk. Let's talk. Let's talk first and foremost about labor. What is labor? Why is labor important? How does it impact today, what we do, how we work, the things that we focus on, the things that we say are important for us? Sorry about that, guys. So, for the things that we say we want to do, the things that we say are important to us, the things that we say are a part of our life, we have to be invested on understanding. Blitz says, you're Blake. Happy birthday, Blake. Happy birthday to you. So, we talk about growth and development. We talk about a lot here about motivation, self-accountability, self-awareness, all of these things and how they work with discipline in order for us to grow our life. I always say, if you don't have a purpose that you're working on, you're serving somebody else's purpose. If you're not working towards something for yourself, then you're building something for someone else, right? No problem, brother. No problem, Blitz. So this is what's important. When we start talking about Labor Day here in the United States and people start talking about, oh, America's getting worse and worse, America's going to hell, and all of these complaints that people have, that's because they don't understand the history of the country. They don't understand where we've come from. Everybody looks at their experience and then they want their experience to be the way somebody told them that the previous experience was, without having lived that experience, without having studied that experience, without being aware of the actual challenges and difficulty of the people who had to live during that time. God bless you as well, Blitz. And so what we end up with is, we end up with these group of mockingbirds and minions just following after what everybody else says without being able to formulate a complete thought or articulate a complete sentence about why they want things to be the way they want them to be. What do you want to go back to? What is it you're looking for? What is it that's so good about the past that you want to go back? And don't get me wrong, there are certain aspects of family and communion and connection that I do believe, as we become more independent and we grow up and as more knowledge is available, families tend to disperse more quickly and the value on the individual has been diminished. But that is not something that we need to go back to as a nation. That's something we need to go back to as people, as individuals. So now I get here and I'm talking about Labor Day and I'm thinking to myself, hey, Labor Day is a great opportunity to share with people how the lowest form of making money is exchanging your time for compensation. I do not care how much money you make. I don't care what field you are in. I do not care whether you're a CEO or a trash man. Exchanging time for money is the lowest level of income there can possibly be. The only thing lower is exchanging your time for nothing. to not be receiving anything, right? Exchanging your time for knowledge is better than exchanging your time for money. It is better to volunteer and learn a skill or a trade that you can apply to build a business or a framework or a system that will allow for you to make money even while you're asleep. Volunteering to learn that is better than getting paid to just repetitively do something for someone else. This is about working on yourself. This country, the United States, as phenomenal as it is, as great a country as it is, as duplicitous in nature as it has been, as contradictory as it can possibly be, was not designed for the working class. I need you to understand this, people. I need you to listen, because I'm not very controversial many times on this channel. I focus on discipline. I focus on understanding and handling your business, following the steps of repetition, followed up by patience, consistency, and perseverance on how to build yourself and build your wealth. What's going on this morning? Welcome in, Saint. That's what my focus normally is. But today, this Tuesday morning, September 2nd, after Labor Day celebration here in the United States, let's go over the history of what brought about Labor Day. When you hear people have the conversation and say, it's never too early, Knock, never too early. When we talk about the history of the United States, right? If anything, Knox, it's too late. I should have did this before Labor Day, so you'd have had the information going into it. The United States was designed specifically for the owners and the elite and the wealthy to be above the working class, right? They started with bringing over indentured servants. Then they moved over to bringing over slaves. Then they moved over to allowing other nations to immigrate to the great melting pot, but they were all relegated to service level, right? I mean, it's too early in the morning. No, it's not. Get up, Knox. It's 2:42 where I am. Oh, don't worry, that's only 2 hours different from where I'm at. 4:42 here on the East Coast. I tell you what, Knox, it's gonna be a great day. I'm 2 hours ahead of you. I've already seen it. So when we start talking about, hey, they, who are the they? The they is a clear delineation. There was a line drawn between who was to have and who was not to have in the United States, right? It's in the structure of how people would vote. Senators were handpicked by other politicians. The only people who were allowed to vote in elections were white men who owned property. Even white men who did not own property were not allowed to vote. And then they further said, hey, do you qualify as a white man? And then do you qualify as an American? This isn't new. The things that we hear about, oh, you have to have a driver's license and you have to be able to prove this and you have to bring this in order to be able to vote. This isn't new. Suppressing the working class isn't new, but it's used now as a distraction. Labor Day came out of riots in 1884. Slavery's over. Sharecroppers are working in the South. In the North and heading west, we have hit the industrialized age. I mean, there are trains and skyscrapers and cars and just development, just at a breakneck pace. Development is taking place in the United States. And the country is hell-bent on being at the front of industry around the world. Part of that is the railroad. Railroad needs to be laid. Freight cars need to be built. Train cars need to be built. This is the epitome of luxury travel and development. 1885, people started to rise up. 1894, everything came to a head when George Pullman, who owned a train car building factory in Illinois, The people rose up. It was during a difficult economic time. He decided to say, hey, we can't afford it. We got to pay you guys less. All you guys working 16, 12, 10-hour days. All you kids as young as 5 working here, living in the camps here with your family and working for me daily. We can't pay you as much as we used to. We're going to cut your wages 25 to 30%. But what we don't understand is that at that time, when you went somewhere to work, when you hear the song, I owe my soul to the company store, that's because the companies owned the land around where they would work. And so if you wanted to be able to get to work and you wanted to be able to make money, the company would say, okay, we're going to pay you $5, but it's going to cost you $4.50 to get your rent for where you're staying in this little shack that we built, to get your boots and your gloves. So everything you made, you had to pay right back into the company. You didn't have an option. You had to. There was nowhere else to live. There was nowhere else to get things from. And so the company owed everything. And you worked for the company for the purposes of giving your money back to the company. George Pullman says we have to reduce costs. Biggest cost is labor. Let's reduce the cost of labor by 30%. And then he told all of the people who were working for him, we're going to pay you 30% less, but we still want 100% of what you owe us. We're not lowering rent. We're not reducing the cost of goods. We're not reducing any of those prices. We're simply saying that we're going to continue to charge you $12 a month in order for you to be able to be here, but we're going to reduce your pay from $15 a month all the way down to $10 a month. Figure it out. You still owe us. That's what he did. That was the position. Here's the thing. And this is what I mean when we talk about they, when we talk about them, when we talk about they trying to hold me back, when we talk about the man, this is the idea, this is the mindset, this is the framework that we're talking about. President Cleveland eventually came out in support of the businessmen because across the country, there was a concern that this uprising that was happening in Illinois would spill over to other industries and that workers would truly unionize. There was fear that the United States would become a socialist country. And all socialism means is that it's an economic system. It's not a political system. Democracy is not against socialists. Socialism is against the consumer state of the United States, which is all about spending money and paying it back to the boss, right? Longest single soliloquy attributed to God in the Bible is the end of the book of Job, where Yahweh asserts his mystery and magnificent to the jib and falsely assured advisors to, okay, Blitz, I see you still writing. So I'm going to continue with my soliloquy. So what we're looking at here is in the United States, we now have this system where people are told, hey, go to work. Just be appreciative of the fact that you have a job and give us back the money. Cleveland sided with the businesses because they were afraid that in other countries where workers had already been unionized and they say, listen, we get it. We're trying to move forward. We don't have a problem with that, but don't treat us this way. You have to understand as a nation, we were coming out of slavery. Just because the North was like, hey, we want freedom, we want equal rights. No, they didn't want the cost of the South's labor to be so great that it allowed for them to take over. because the labor cost in the South with slaves was zero. Don't believe that that meant that there was no slaves in the North. What do you think? They didn't have slaves in other places? They didn't have farms in Chicago? They didn't have farms in places like New York and New Hampshire? Is that what you think? So this was not about a magnanimous desire to have equality for all men, including the working man. This was about wealth. This was about the ability to balance it, because cotton was a product of the South, and it was used widely in so many things, in so many spaces, that in order to balance the playing field, it became necessary to get rid of their free labor. That's what the Civil War is about. Abraham Lincoln said, in his own speech, if it was about the superiority between a white man and a black man, of course I would have the white man to be superior. He didn't care about the status of a black person. He didn't care about the value of the individuals as slaves. He cared about the fact that we can't have, because we have to train people now. And we don't like slaves any more than you do. We don't like blacks any more than you do. But if we have to train black people how to build the stuff that we're building, they're going to develop skills, and we don't want them to have skills. You agree with me about that, right? Skills for a black person is a bad thing for us. And because they did not want these people to have skills, they didn't want blacks to have skills, there had to be some changes. All of that is simply to say it was economic based. It was not freedom based. The move away from slavery was not freedom based. What does that mean? That now means if you are not a white man who owns something, you no longer have a voice in this country. You no longer have the ability to vote. You no longer have stature. You don't have anything. And because it was so tied to the structure of this nation that you be a white man to own something, that when ownership went away, when there was no ownership in large part in the South, what started to happen is white men, wealthy white men in the South, became poor and didn't know it, couldn't see it. It started to spread across the country. The indentured servants and the laborers that they brought in from other countries were huddled into slums in the North, and their sweat and blood was used to build roads and rail cars. And they also had no voice. So in this 1894 strike in Illinois, these are white laborers. This wasn't a whole bunch of slaves. These weren't rioters. These weren't gangsters. These were working families who simply said, I already owe you everything, and now you're going to give me less and demand the same from me. And the people rose up, not out of a desire to overtake or kill, but to simply say, hey, can I just be treated basic? Can I be basic? Do you know how bad you have to be treated for someone, for you to look at somebody and say, hey, you don't have to treat me good, but could you just not treat me this bad? Do you understand what the concession was for unionizing? Dude, and don't get me wrong, I'm not a big union guy. I'm really not. But do you understand the whole reason we have an 8-hour work day and a Labor Day parade is because of unions? People would regularly work 12 to 16 hours and you got paid for a day. It didn't matter. You worked until we said the day is done. And if we agreed to pay you $2.30 a day, that's what you get paid. You get your $2.30. I don't care how long the day is. Starts at 10 hours. ends when we say go home. This is the type of thing, this is the type of experience that Americans had. This is what led to Labor Day. This riot. And it wasn't even a riot. It was just the workers who stopped working and said, hey, we need to talk. Can I talk to you? There was fear that the United States would become socialist. Oh no. In Europe, there had already started to be changes and movements and direct action taken so that the populace had a voice when it came to working. They were already taking those types of actions in Europe. So as they took those actions, things started to change. People started to get a level of respect. There was a level of expectation and compensation, hours worked, care, actually the individual counting. And the United States was like, we don't want to do that. So how do we make it seem better? So Cleveland was like, hey, let's give them a holiday. Before he did that, he sent in federal troops into Chicago. And keep in mind what I'm saying here is there was a clear delineation between the elites, the haves, and the have-nots. And this country was designed to keep it that way. That's what capitalism is about. Capitalism is about having people who make something and then having other people pay for it. Which is why we've gone to subscriptions, because the easiest way to guarantee that you're going to continue to get your money is rent everything. Stop selling them stuff. If you sell them something that's theirs, they can keep it. Why are cars from 1957 still on the road, but you got a Chevy from 2020 that you can't keep the transmission working in? They had to change. I saw a short the other day where it was a Nokia phone sitting in the chair and there were two little smartphones sitting on the floor. And the Nokia said to the smartphones, back in the day, they dropped me and nothing would happen. It's like I lasted. I did what I was supposed to do. I could make calls, I could send texts. You could throw me against a wall. You could submerge me in water, take out the battery, shake me out, sit me in some rice for 15 minutes, and you back on. You're up and running. Man, you put your phone in your back pocket nowadays. You better sit on one side, you better sit on one cheek, better not sit on that phone. So what is all of this about? What does it mean? It means when we talk about them, they, when we talk about they holding us back, when we talk about the power, when we talk about that, what we're talking about specifically is this delineation. And oh no, it's not at the regular level anymore. And they keep doing things to keep you from looking at it. They keep doing things to keep you appeased. Because here's what it is. They were like, if I treat you horrible, and then I give you a little something, it'll make you happy. You'll stay satiated and satisfied. I don't have to be nice to you. I just have to be a little bit better than I was to you. I don't have to care about you. I just have to make you feel like you're cared about. And so they start to concede and they start to say, okay, how much money are we making? We don't want to give them money. No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to give them money. Let's give them other things that feel as good as money. Okay, let's shorten the workday. Slowly but surely, the workday got shorter. Okay, it's 8 hours. All right, fine. Fine, guys, you just got to work for 8 hours. Let's raise the minimum wage. No, forget that. That's stupid. I'm not giving them any more of my money. You better find out a way for me to keep it if we raise it. Everything that they implement was designed for them to grow wealthy. It is the same today. This is what Labor Day was about. 25 workers lost their lives in 1894. Many more was injured because the president sent in the federal guard, sent in the National Guard to protect, as he said, oh, we don't want to disrupt mail. 25 people died because he took the position of the owners. He took the positions of the people that were in power, the people of the elite. He backed them. And he said, shut up, slaves, and get back to work. It mattered now. Oh, it mattered now. Started to show up, and people started to change. It's the collective unionization of the populace, not just of workers in one field, but of people that create change. So what did the country figure out it had to do? Oh, we gotta be divided. We're gonna have things that bring us together as Americans, but we're gonna also have things that set us apart as individuals. How many of us grew up in neighborhoods where we associated ourselves with people who were from a certain block? I was talking to someone on here before, I believe it was Simple Chris, about being from New York and how everybody from New York introduced themselves in a certain way, where they tell you what borough they from, what block they from, what elementary school they went to, PS 139. They drop everything on you because that's their identity. They're identified by these things. This is my serial number. This is where I come from. I am a specific way because I come from here. You already know what I'm about because of where I come from. This was intentional so that one side of New York doesn't get along with the other side of New York. I believe it's Jamaica, Queens, that has a street where on one side it's all Jamaican restaurants and eateries and music and shops, and on the other side it's all Jewish. Separated by a freaking white line down the middle of a road. Labor Day was not a design to care. It was a design to appease. They beat us down, beat us down, beat us down, and was like, oh, let me give you a day. How many of us are aware of what May Day is? Does anybody know what May Day is? May Day was around before Labor's Day. May Day is the International World Labor Day. It's the day that around the world, everyone says, let's take a day, May 1st, let's take a day to honor and understand and respect what laborers have done, what the hard workers, the janitors, the cooks, the high-rise builders, the steam engine workers, what they've done, the people who laid the roads, the people who've laid the rails, the people who built the buildings, the people who do the hard work, the people who are in the back at your restaurants, the people you don't even get to see or talk to anymore when you order food, are laborers. We are all laborers to a degree. Let's take a moment to respect what they do and understand it and say, hey, this is a day where around the world, we're gonna give a salute to labor. It was already in existence. May Day, all the United States had to do was say, okay, we're in. We wanna be a part of May Day. We understand that workers are valuable, that people matter, we're in. You know what the United States did? The United States says, no, we don't wanna be associated with that, that's too radical. Y'all giving people too much. Y'all giving people way too much. Now, we're not gonna do that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start a different day. We're gonna do September 1st. So this is the United States Labor Day. It's an International Labor Day around the freaking globe, May 1st, and we're celebrating September 1st. Why? Because we don't want to do what everyone else is doing, because we are built to have a system that's designed to separate the haves from the have-nots. And if you have a little bit and you think you a have, you better check your record. You better check yourself and really figure out, am I a have? Why am I doing all this complaining and bitching this morning? It's not my thing. I'm not a hater. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not leaving the United States. I'm not saying anybody else should. I'm not saying any of that. All I'm saying this morning is we need to understand our history. We need to understand where we've come from, and we need to understand what part we play in our future, what part we play in our present, and how we build it, and what we work towards. We do have to stop making excuses. We do have to stop waiting for somebody else to hand us a way of caring for ourselves and thinking about ourselves. All of these things need to change. How are they going to change? They're not going to change till we change them. They're not going to change until we change us. You're worried about changing the system. You got to change. We got to fix ourselves first. We have to have the knowledge first. Blanca said, can I ask you something with great respect? Sure, Blanca, I'm not sure if you're still there, but of course. Inking said, I've been in Germany, Europe 11 years now. They're still doing sites regularly. It's always surprises me. Crazy work. Doing styles. I'm not sure what styles are. Educate me on that, Inkling. Tabitha, my dude, was just saying this the other day. Indeed, Tabitha. So people, my whole thing is not about, hey, take down the man. It's not, listen, look, one of the funniest experiences in my life, right? Don't y'all laugh at me about this. I'm working at a big box retailer. I'm a manager. You know, I grew up listening to my Public Enemy, my Run DMC, my KRS-One, my Big Daddy Kane and all of that. So, I got a young white guy in my department. I can't remember his name, but I go up to him, I say, hey, don't you let the man hold you down. I used to say it to him all the time. I'm like, hey man, don't you let the man hold you back. One day I'm on the floor, he walks up to me. He says, hey, Bird. He's like, how old are you? At the time, I was like 42, a little over a decade ago. I'm like, yeah, I'm about 42. He was like, man, he says, you're a middle-aged, middle manager for a multi-billion-dollar company. He said, you are the man. I was like, what? What did you say to me? No, I'm not. I'm not the man. Dude, I was the damn man. I'm trying to tell him, don't let the man hold him down. He was like, man, you the man. Keep telling me to go over here and talk to these people. He's like, you the man. Oh man, I almost lost it. I went crazy. It was mind-blowing. I had grown up to be the man. So what am I saying all of this about, guys? I think Labor Day is great. I think it's phenomenal. I think it's a great way to be able to celebrate. I think it's a great way to be able to connect and spend time. But we need to know the history behind it, people. We need to know why we're doing the things we're doing. And we need to know, how do we change? How do we grow? How do we move the next generation of our family from being laborers to being livers, to being not just being alive, but living? And there's a way to do it. Because here's the great thing about the United States with all of its flaws. And this is where people make the mistake. People so often say, oh man, they don't want to see me succeed. No, they don't care if you succeed. They don't. Can anybody tell me what happens? What happens? RKS, man, thank you for checking in. It's 11 p.m. out in Hawaii. I did get the donation. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It will be going towards the continued growth of the channel. So, what does this mean? When we talk about, oh, they don't want to see me do well. No, they changed the game. They changed the game. Because the best way to do well is to invest. Everyone knows, dude, if I could start a business, not buy a job, but if I could start a business, I can start a business, I can grow it, I can sell it, and then I can start another business. We're not all built to start businesses. We're not all built that way. But we all built to make bucks. And you have to understand, and this is what I mean, exchanging time for money is the lowest form of making money. How do we graduate to the next level? Well, clearly the next level is to make money when you're not working. To make money when you are enjoying your time. How do you do that? You do it with the system. So they created a system. The stock exchange, which used to be difficult to talk to somebody about, and you needed a knot to get into. You can now get in now for nickels. What, $5? Open an account, buy marginal shares of a stock, just keep compounding it. Why am I talking about this? Because those elites who you say, man, they don't want me to do good. Of course they do. Because if you invest in their company and you do good, that means they doing better. You don't have to be a billionaire to be happy. You don't even have to be a millionaire to be happy. You have to understand what you need to be happy, and then you have to work with discipline to build it. So many of the things that we go through, so many of the challenges that we have come simply from our inability to understand and accept the behaviors necessary for us to grow. And then holding ourselves accountable for those behaviors, holding ourselves accountable for those decisions, holding ourselves accountable for the expectations that we set for ourselves, and rising to meet them. The strategy is simple, people. The strategy is simple. You take more of your money and invest it than you take to spend it. It's not instant, but you will start to see it grow. And then you have to understand, if you want your children to have this same opportunity, if you want your people, the people in the future to have this same opportunity, you can't take it with you. That doesn't mean spend all of it. That means invest it so that when we go, we have people who we can share it with. Warren Buffett spent practically, 60, 70 years amassing a fortune of over $160-some billion. He has children, and then he says, I'm going to donate 90+% of my money to charity when I die. I'm going to grow it, and then when I die, my money goes to charity to help others. This is what you work hard for. This is why you build a legacy. It's not to take it with you. It's because of the things that you can do with it. Not to just do for yourself, but what you can do for others. Your children don't have to worry about the cost of college. Your grandchildren don't have to worry about what country they want to go to college in. Your great-grandchildren just trying to figure out if they want to go to college in space. This is what starting and building does, is it creates a legacy. And when you leave a legacy behind, When you work with purpose, you provide and you help others grow. Random said, is this black fatigue? Is black fatigue? No, dude, this isn't black fatigue. This is human growth. If anything, I might be preaching white power right now. I'm telling everybody here to take their money and invest it in the stock market and never take it out. Hey, was that Mad J? Good talk. Low key, yeah, I am. Yeah, low key. Because here's the thing, is once we get the understanding that it's about money and not about the color of your skin, not about where you're from, not about the way you talk. It's not about any of that. It's about that money. When we get the understanding that the clear objective is to build something that's going to stay, that's not going to go away, you never take money out of your business. So when you buy stock, do you know what you're doing? You're buying into a business. You're buying a part of a business. So when you put money into a business, no business ever takes money out of a business. All they do is put more money into it. If the business started with a $50,000 investment, that $50,000 never comes out of that business. They use that $50,000, they make profit, they can take a portion or all of the profit. That $50,000 never comes out of that business. If they add another $10,000, they now have invested $60,000 into that business. That $60,000 never comes out of that business. The business grows and you live off of the growth. Why is this important? Because when you buy stock, you are investing in a business. You are buying a share of a business. If the intent is to sell those shares of the business so you can go on vacation, you don't understand business. You don't understand what the objective is. You don't know why you're investing money outside of the fact that someone said you should invest your money. Ideally, we start investing the moment we get a job. And we invest everything we don't need. Forget want. Every penny you don't need. Listen, if you're 16 years old, you're 15 years old, and you're out here and you're grinding and you're working money. I don't care if you're working at fast food, wherever you're working. Every dollar you don't need for you, invest it. Invest it. Don't worry about, oh, well, what's the market going to do? You're never taking it out. It doesn't matter. Invest in companies that you know aren't going away. The United States has already told you what companies are not going to go away. JP Morgan, not going away. You know why? United States has already showed you JP Morgan spent a decade and a half writing bad loans, cost people their life savings, cost people their homes, and then they went to the United States and was like, my bad, that's on us, we messed that up. United States is, yeah, you're right. Here's a couple of $1 billion. The first thing they did was they paid severance checks, some greater than $50 million, to the CEOs and the leaders who were at the head of the company at the time they robbed the country. That company's not going anywhere. Is it publicly traded? Get as many shares as you want. Unless the United States collapse, which is a bigger concern than that bank collapsing, you've invested in a business. It's not going anywhere. It's going to continue to grow. You don't sell your business unless you're going to start a bigger business. You invest, you invest, you invest, you live off the profits. You invest, you invest, you invest, you live off the profits. Trust me, the world is changing. We have to change with it. It is simple to incorporate, or it's simple to start an LLC. They cost about $300 a year to have. And you can use this LLC to invest and start a business. You can put your life insurance in your LLC. You can purchase your home through an LLC. You can buy your car through an LLC. You do it all because the business has a better opportunity of having tax write-offs than you do, because a business objective is to make money. Your objective is to survive. So banks don't look at you the way they look at your business. Invest. Trust me. This is how the rich stay rich. Don't nobody buy no $60 million house because they need it. It's because I made so much freaking money, I don't have anything to do with it. And if I don't do something with it, the freaking government is going to come take it. So they buy properties that they never go through. There's this story about this mansion somewhere on some island that this major corporation bought years ago for like $11 million. And they used to have like little retreats and stuff on it. They would send, they would go out there for banquets, and then they stopped. And they didn't take care of it. It was still sitting on their books for years. How do you have something worth $11 million that you forgot about? How do you make that much money? Do we care? Are we concerned? Does it matter? I'm telling you it should. Top Gun, welcome in. How are you doing? Yes, Mad J. What's your question? Oh, no, you didn't say question. You said Epstein. So, why is this important, man? Why does this stuff even matter? Well, it matters because once we have an understanding, I did a short the other day that said, hey, it's not good enough to know that things are different. We have to understand how they're different. Because when we understand how they're different, we can make changes to make those things work the way we want to make those things beneficial and powerful to us. So, everything I'm talking about this morning, all this ranting and raving I'm doing this morning about Labor Day, is to simply say, we don't have to stay that way. You don't have to stay that way. You don't have to accept, hey, I only get what people give me. You can change your life today. Stop being a consumer. Stop thinking that everything in life is about consuming. Oh, I'm just getting the bag. Yeah, but do you understand that there are people today living off of dividends? This is what I'm talking about making money. There are people today who invest in companies they don't own, companies that are so big, you invest a few $100,000 and you still own less than 1% of 1%. And the company is so big and makes so much money that you invest hundreds of thousands of dollars and you're making tens of thousands of dollars a year off of that investment. And you just put it back in the investment. How much money is the company making? And you think they don't want you to succeed? Of course they do. Because if you succeed, they succeed. If you get your gas from ExxonMobil, why don't you own stock in ExxonMobil? If you get your power from BGE, why don't you own stock in BGE, Pacific Electric? So every time you pay your bill, you're paying yourself. Why haven't we done these things? Because the concept has not been introduced to us that we can own things and never get rid of them. No, I'm not telling you that you need to go out and start a company. I'm not telling you that you need to go out and buy telecom. I'm not telling you you need to take all of your money and stop enjoying life, stop having fun, and just invest. That's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you that if you want to build something that's going to last for generations, you have to start, and you have to start now. We didn't get this way. The billionaires and trillionaires today were thousandaires yesterday. They had thousands of dollars that they invested that became hundreds of thousands of dollars that they invested that became millions of dollars. We have to understand that it takes work, it takes focus, it takes time. We're not slaves unless we choose to be. A lot of people are sheep, though. It's not easy, Mad DJ. It's not. I keep saying, dude, I think I just put out a short last week that said, man, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. It's not easy. But that's the whole point. They used to have a saying, they say you want to hide something from a black man, put it in a book. It's not easy because it requires for you to buckle down and learn something, then to apply it, and then hold yourself accountable for it. Stop letting yourself off the hook. If you told yourself, hey man, I'm gonna invest $10 every week into my stocks, and then you don't invest it, you'd be like, all right, man, I'm gonna get that next week. I'm gonna take care of that next week. Let somebody owe you $10 from your job. You done pressed up on them, you done pulled out a gun. What you saying, man? What you saying, man? Where my $10? Well, press yourself. Where your $10 for your investment? We treating ourselves like punks and bitches because we don't want to hold ourselves accountable to things that we hold other people accountable for. We get mad at the government when our tax return ain't come in on time. Man, when I'm gonna get my check? Why ain't I get that check? How did you get so much money back? But then we don't hold ourselves accountable about what we do with our money. Hey, don't go to Popeyes. Put that money into a stock. I get it. You're just about to get a taco. It's $5 from Taco Bell. I get it. You're about to spend $4. Don't do it. You don't need it. Put it into your stocks. If you like Taco Bell, why don't you own some stock in whatever company owns Taco Bell? So every time you eat Taco Bell, you're paying yourself. And it gets to the point where if you get enough stock in something, that what it pays you exceeds what you put into it. Do you understand if you get enough stock in your power company, your energy company, if you're paying roughly $100 a month for energy and you keep investing so that quarterly you're getting $300 back in dividends, then you don't pay for energy anymore. You no longer pay for electricity. It pays for itself. Your dividends every quarter, you reinvest so it gets more and more. But you're at the point now where your $100 that you pay for your electricity bill is literally coming back into your pocket. And then later it's going to come back with a couple of extra dollars with it. That is growth. It is not easy. It is not instant. It takes time. It takes focus. It takes hard work. It definitely takes discipline. And discipline starts with repetition. We just have to start doing something. We have to figure out how to be disciplined. If you can get repetition, couple it with patience, and then learn something, and then do it with consistency, you can grow. We have to stop making excuses and start making things happen. Mad J, your truth, bruh. You're brilliant. Thank you very much. Orlando from San Jose, California. I have stock, did job, Home Depot, 7 shares. That's what I'm talking about. Keep growing in Orlando. What's going on? Indeed. Where can I start or how? You got a job, Mad J? We're going to deal with this right now for you, Mad J. You got a job? You need a hat, hit the shop, man. You know the shop is in the description of the channel. Got the hats, got the sweatshirts, got t-shirts. We got different logos. It's all there. Just hit the channel in the description. You can find it. Orlando says, my mom has stock. She got 40,000. Yeah, I know it's you, Ron. Mad J said, yes, okay. Hoodies, indeed. Taco Bell. So, where you working at, Mad J? You working at Taco Bell? Grand Rising from Northern Utah. What's welcome, man, Sharp? I saw you, buddy. I saw it up the other day. I saw the name change, I know. So, hey, Mad J, where you work at? And what's your monthly expenses? Let me know what you work at. Let me know how much you're making a month and how much of that you have to spend. How much of that has to pay for your phone bill, your housing costs, transportation costs. Orlando said, from the same text company name, Applied Materials. Is that where you work at, Orlando? Daryl said, good, from South Carolina. Welcome in, Daryl. How you doing? Here's what I'm asking you those questions for, man, because I have to get off of here. I got some things to go take care of, but I want to offer you this, man. This is what you do. You reduce your income. You write yourself a budget. You have to create a budget where you have a surplus left at the end. We were talking the other day to someone who was homeless. They say they were living in their truck. They just got a full-time job. We went through a simple scenario. If you have a full-time job and your full-time job is paying you anywhere between $2,000 to $2,400 a month, which is not a lot of money. It's not a lot of money, I get it. But if you're homeless and you've been living off of less, you've been living off of panhandling or what you can get from the state, if you get to the point where you can now live off of $600 and you're getting paid $2,400 a month, or you're taking home $1,600 a month, if you can live off of $600, you have $1,000 to invest. Don't go get an apartment. You've already been living in your car. What's the rush to get an apartment? Because when you're grinding, you're not going to be there anyway. The apartment's going to cost you money. Electricity's going to cost you money. Water's going to cost you money. You're grinding right now. Listen, man, I'm not one of these people who are going to tell you to start spending your money. Start investing it. Get the freaking Robinhood app, Acorn app, Webull. I don't care which one you get. You take your money, you put it in there, and you invest in companies that the United States has told you we're not going to let these companies fail. It doesn't matter how much the stock costs. The price is going to continue to go up. The value is going to continue to go up. And when the price goes down a little bit, buy more. So you have to understand, if you're being paid, if you have the ability to put away $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 in a year. That's $12,000 you put away in 1 year. And what happens is we don't have the discipline to stay focused. And we think that we got to get out of here now. Man, I got $4,000. That's enough for first and last months. I ain't got to be living in my truck anymore. Yeah, but guess what? Your $1,600 a month doesn't support you getting further. Because you make $1,600 a month now. Now your housing expenses is double what your life expenses were. You're paying $1,200 a month for housing. You still have a car. You still got to eat. Now you got to pay electricity. You know you want cable. I'm going to put a TV on the wall. You've upgraded before it's time to do so. It doesn't matter where you start. You have to build first. You have to build with the investing. And then those investments, you have to understand, I'm never touching those investments. Invest in your stocks and invest in yourself. So when you invest in yourself, what happens is the company says, hey, wherever you're working, you invest enough into yourself, you care enough about yourself, the company's going to say, hey, we're going to lose you. We're going to invest more in you. We're going to kick you up from 15 to 17. Hey, it's not world changing, but every dollar an hour that you make is $2,000 a year. So you get a $3 pay raise or a $2 pay raise, you're making $4,000 more per year than you were making moments ago. You keep working on yourself, and then you set a goal of, hey, I want to double my income this year. I want to double it. I get it. I'm making $17 an hour. I'm making $34,000 a year. I want to get to $70,000. Let me figure out how. Let me talk to people about what I need to do to become the person who can be making $70,000 a year. You were homeless. Remember, you were homeless 24 months ago. That's not a long time because you were homeless for years before that. You still put away $1,000, even if we don't count the growth, if we don't count the dividend reinvestment. The $1,000 a month you've been putting away for 2 years, you got $24,000 invested in your business and you're never taking it out. It's just continuing to grow. See, you have to understand that discipline is the key, because if you do not have the ability to stay repetitious, patient, and consistent and develop the perseverance necessary, if you're living in your car and you know you got enough money to get an apartment, perseverance is when you buy a blanket instead of renting a room. That's perseverance. I went to Walmart. I spent $20 on a better blanket when I could have went and got a hotel room for $80 because it would keep me warmer. But I'm going somewhere. I'm not denying myself. I am paying my future because I know compounding 5 years from now, I'm going to be much better off than I am right now. And I'm continuing to work on me. I'm not saying that working is a bad thing. I just want to let you know that that is the entry level to income. That is the entry level to success. That is the entry level to living a life. Exchanging time for money is the lowest form of income that you can make. You have to accelerate it. You have to grow it. And if you're going to exchange your time for money, you need to get paid more money for the time that you spend working. Do this, people. Divide how much money you make a year by the number of hours in a year. I believe the number of hours in a year are 8,400 and some change. Divide how much money you make a year by that number. When you perform that division, you're going to get an understanding and you're going to get a visual of how much it costs you to actually live. What an hour of your life costs. And then you're going to also see how much an hour of your life is worth. Because if you only make money while you're working and you're only working 40 hours, the rest of your life is not generating any income for you. Guys, as I said before, Labor Day was designed because there were the haves and the have-nots. And the haves wanted to keep the have-nots happy. We have to understand we're a have-not until we own something. And when you own something, you never give it back. We are in a world now where no one wants to own anything. If you own a business, you never take money out of it. You live off of the returns from it. Stop buying jobs. Stop thinking that, oh, I'm investing so I can use this to retire. Nope, that's not how it works. You're investing because you're going to have a generation of your family to come after this. You're going to put your life insurance into it. You're going to put it inside a business. You're going to put it inside a trust. And your children are going to have to worry about fewer things. Your children's children are going to have to worry about fewer things. And you're working on developing yourself and enjoying your life. That's what we're looking to do. In order to do it, we have to invest time. In order to do it, we have to invest discipline. Guys, this is what we preach about here. Starts with repetition. You just have to get started. Listen, you don't have to grade it. You just need to start doing it. I don't care. Move it. $1 a day, 50 cents a day. I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's fitness, food, whatever it is. Do it. Start doing it with repetition. Be patient. It's not going to happen overnight. You're not going to stop thinking you're going to put $500 into the stock market and GameStop going to turn you into a millionaire by Wednesday. Stop thinking that. You have to be consistent. You have to stay guided. You have to stay balanced. You have to be patient. Consistency is when you start to grade it. Okay, I've been putting $1 here, 50 cents here. I've decided now that I've been doing something every day, I'm going to change it. I'm going to start putting $250 a month, $1,000 a month, $4,000. If you have it, invest it. Don't go buy a house. Start a company and let your company buy your house. Leverage your stock. Trust me, there's so much more information to be shared here. What I'm saying to you is it starts with discipline. We have to be disciplined. We have to be self-aware, and we have to be self-accountable. This is what we have to understand. Discipline starts with repetition. Start doing it. Patience. It's not going to happen overnight, but it's going to get done. Consistency. Set a goal, create a plan, stay on track. Perseverance is the thing that builds you. It's the thing that you do when you sleep in that car behind Taco Bell and you take a shower in Planet Fitness because you know you have something in your future. I'm not there yet, but I'm going to make it. Perseverance is when you go through that and you build and you work on yourself, and then you get to a point where people start to see that you've been working on you and not just working for them, and your value increases. When your value increases in your eyes enough for you to work on you, your value increases in the eyes of the people who see you. And then as you grow that value, you start to grow the return. and then you start to grow and you live off of that return. Guys, I'm so happy you were able to be here this morning with me. I appreciate everyone who commented. Please, guys, if you haven't done so yet, please drop a like, double tap the screen, hit the like button wherever it is. It doesn't cost you anything. It's just a great way to be able to say thank you or just say hi. As I said before, BNV, the legacy starts at home. The shop is open. If you'd like to get something from the shop, you can get it right there on the page in the description. There's a drop down where you can do that. There's also ways for you to donate and contribute to the build and the grow of the channel directly. There's a link pinned in the chat if you would like to make a donation there. Everyone who's been in here, Simple Chris, 1417 after the math. I did divided by 8,500. That's how much an hour of your life is worth. You want to get that to about 50. King with a gun says, Haro. Okay. Mad J, I subscribed already. Thank you so much. Everyone, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for spending the time. As always, guys, remember, keep showing up, keep blowing up, keep growing up. Until next time, you guys have a great day. God bless you.